What if I told you that money itself, the very thing we rely on every day, was one of the chief architects of Rome's downfall? Imagine gold turning into a poison, wealth becoming rot from within. In this video, we'll reveal how money destroyed ancient Rome, not with swords or invaders alone, but with greed, inflation, corruption, and social collapse. Strap in. This is a wild descent into the Roman abyss. Part 1. The Rise of Rome, Money as a Tool, Not a Master. Rome's early success was built on discipline, civic virtue, and communal sacrifice. In the Republic era, money was a means, not an end. Conquests brought spoils, but the spoils primarily served the state. Roads, infrastructure, the Roman legions. Wealth was often redistributed via public works, grain doles, and civic festivals. In those days, money united Romans. A farmer, a soldier, a senator. They all recognized that prosperity for the whole was strength for the state. But this delicate balance began to shift in the late Republic and early Empire. Part 2. The first cracks: debt, inequality, and social strain. As Rome expanded, it also accumulated vast territories, slaves, and spoils. Wealth concentrated in the hands of a few elite families. The small farmer, burdened with taxes and competition from slave labor, couldn't compete and often sold his land to senators. The class divide widened. Meanwhile, ambitious politicians manipulated debts, forgiving or canceling them to curry favor, only to reinstate them later. Here's the trap. The illusion of relief masked deeper systemic rot. Money, once neutral, became a tool of political gamesmanship. Part 3. Emperors and the currency crisis. Once Augustus ushered in the empire, emperors faced the constant pressure of paying the army, the bureaucracy, and ambitious public projects. They increasingly resorted to debasement, issuing coins with less precious metal content but face value claims. So a denarius that once was 95% silver gradually became 50%, then 30%, then nearly worthless copper alloy. The result? People rushed to spend money before it lost value, like a viral version of "get rid of cash fast." Prices soared, wages lagged, savings evaporated. Part 4. The spiral of corruption and taxation. With inflation raging, the government needed ever more revenue, so taxes exploded. Provincial governors, tasked to collect more, extorted more. Bribery, favoritism, impersonation of magistrates. Corruption as a norm, not an exception. In some provinces, poor farmers and small merchants had to bribe local officials just to transact or conduct trade. The currency crisis amplified corruption. When coins had uncertain value, every transaction became a gamble. Officials could demand under-the-table payments in kind, in land, in people. And so the Roman state morphed into a parasite, taxing not only produce but people's lives, their sweat, their blood. Part 5. Collapse of commerce and the retreat to feudalism. As coinage lost reliability, commerce suffered. Traders refused to accept certain coins. Barter re-entered the marketplace. Big estates, latifundia, absorbed land and labor. Peasants lost freedom. They became colony, bound to the land, farming for the landlord, not owning anything. Sound familiar? It foreshadows medieval serfdom. Cities shrank. Trade routes became dangerous. Tariffs erratic. The connectivity that Rome once built started collapsing inward. Part 6. Money, mercenaries, and military decay. Rome's armies were expensive. Mercenaries were recruited from beyond the borders, paid with the same debased currency. Many were more loyal to their pay than to Rome. When payment stopped or devalued, desertion, mutiny, and betrayal followed. Part 7. Invasions meet an imploding core. Into this malnourished body of empire poured waves of invasions. Goths, Vandals, Huns. Rome's frontiers cracked because the state couldn't support legions at full strength. In many cases, border troops had only debased pay or empty promises. Enemy forces saw not just a weak Rome, but a hollow one. When Alaric's Goths sacked Rome in 410 CE, they marched not just on walls, but into fiscal chaos. Part 8. Lessons from the Ashes. So how did money destroy ancient Rome? Let's recap. 1. Concentration of wealth and social inequality. Money became a tool of exclusion. 2. Currency debasement and inflation. Rome undermined faith in its own coins. 3. Taxation and corruption spiral. The state became a parasitic machine. 4. Market breakdown and retreat to barter-scheich feudalism. Commerce collapsed. 5. Military decay and mercenary dependence. Armies fought for pay, not purpose. 6. Invasions exploited the weakness. The external pressure overwhelmed a hollow core. In the end, Rome didn't just fall because of barbarian swords. It died slowly, starved by fiscal rot and moral decay. Part 9. Bridge to modern relevance. Maybe now you're wondering, is this just an ancient story or a mirror held to our own time? When inflation eats savings, when debt becomes political theater, when wealth concentrates in fewer hands, we see echoes of Rome. Rome's downfall teaches us, a civilization is only as strong as the trust its money commands, the fairness its system preserves, and the broad prosperity it generates. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Rome's fiscal tragedy, do me a favor. Hit subscribe so you don't miss future dives into history's biggest economic failures. Like this video to help others find it, and leave a comment. Tell me which empire or civilization you want me to dissect next. Money destroyed ancient Rome.